Hello, I'm here today with Andrew Mitchell, Investment Trust Analyst at Edison. Welcome, Andrew.
Hi.
What sort of exposure does Witan Investment Trust give its investors?
Well, Witan is a trust which gives people global equity exposure. And within that, it's based on a benchmark which has 40% in the UK and 20% each in the US, Europe and Asia. So it's giving people a global exposure, but within that it's a lower exposure to the US than you get in a typical global index, for example, where over 50% would be in the US. So many UK investors, for example, would not want that level of exposure.
Now, Witan uses a multi-manager approach, doesn't it? How does that work exactly?
Yeah, so what they do is they allocate the trust funds between 10 or 12 investment managers who are experts in their area of operation. So what Witan's trying to do is pick the best people in each area. One of the dangers of that approach is that effectively it becomes rather like a tracker fund, because you're just covering too many stocks and it performs like the index. And what's happened is since Andrew Bell became CEO in 2010, he's made a point of allocating funds to more active managers to avoid exactly that danger.
So what are the cost implications of using that approach?
It's an obvious concern for investors that you've got two layers of costs. You've got the costs of Witan itself, and then you've got the costs of the fund managers they allocate to. But actually in practice, the average fees over 5 years, if you look at that, the ongoing charge is 0.7% if you don't include performance fees, or even with performance fees, it's 0.9%. So that's actually quite moderate for this sort of fund.
And what do you think the advantages are to the investor using this approach?
So it's worth mentioning on this point that actually the fund has performed rather well. So there's no certainty that this will continue. But if you look back over the last 1, 3 and 5 years, it's outperformed both its own composite benchmark and the FTSE All-Share Index. So that's pretty encouraging. And the other thing is that if you're an investor who wants a sort of one-stop solution, Witan could provide that quite neatly, I think.
Andrew, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you.
If you'd like any more information, please do visit the Edison website.